Shay, what's up, Solutionaries? I'm going to start with saying I did not want to do this video. We have a culture that desensitizes and highlights black victimization, black porn, black everything, black culture. It highlights it to the point of making it a fetish, okay? So when I heard of yet another black man being murdered, because that's what it is, murder, I'm just sick of the cycle. I'm sick of people being outraged, they post about it, they don't do anything. Now, I initially posted a a tweet that I threw on my Instagram and my Facebook and all over social media platforms. And in essence, it was saying why I'm not gonna post a video. I'm not gonna ever post a video of black people being brutalized by law enforcement, brutalized by each other, brutalized by any of that. I think that your diet is more than just what you eat. It's what you consume. It's what you put into your body. Your eyes are, an entryway, So I don't do that. And this is no different than Eric Garner. This is no different than you pick back to Rodney King, back to, way back when there were gatherings where melinated beings were hung and, picnics and things of that nature. So I don't do it. And my response to it, I thought that in the caption, would explain what my position is. And taking a step back, talking to women and hearing it from their perspective, I can be very direct. I can be very, you hear me joke and laugh and things of that on my social media, but I don't want it to get in any way, shape, or form misconstrued or fucked up. I am for killing anyone trying to kill you, okay? I am for, if someone is trying to murder you, you murder them. Your highest property is your body. And since your highest property is your body, I have to address this scenario with Ahmaud Arbery being murdered. Now the fucked up part is, even as I say his name, I have to kind of figure out which name and remember which name. Okay, and this is a part of the problem. A part of the problem is in the fact that it's so commonplace, not even just to highlight death, but more specifically black death. So in the news, when do we see video footage of white males being murdered by law enforcement or brutalized by law enforcement? And statistically, it happens more to them than black people. I mean, we're just talking about numbers to build to a bigger point. There is psychological warfare associated with continuing to showcase a group of people as the victim, to convince people that there is you're only the victim. And I'm not in alignment with that in any way, shape, or form. Psychological warfare exists, There's great books by black psychiatrists and psychologists, dealing with the psychology of, the black child and so forth and so on. There's tons of books. I'll put some of them in this comment section. Now, for those of you that don't know, one, I am not posting that video. It's not gonna happen. Don't look, I wouldn't recommend that you look for it. I'll explain what happened and we can move on, okay? Ahmaud Arbery was jogging. There was a white father and son that thought that he was a guy that had been burglarizing the neighborhood or something to that effect. Whatever bullshit story they want to say, now that they're being looked at, because they initially, there have been no charges as of this recording. There have been no charges. The father, ironically, was a retired police officer. So maybe that has something to do with the fact that, there were no charges brought up. Maybe, you never know. Then you got to ask the question of why, tying into that, why with a murder, with their video being available, someone recording it, why was there no charges even brought? Which speaks to a certain level of, yet again, classism, elitism, foot soldiers of the state getting a lot more, quote unquote, leeway to murder Americans. And just outright racism. All of those questions have to be asked. You can't tell me if I shot somebody dead on camera that I would not even get charged unless it was clearly that this person was trying to attack me, so forth and so on, okay? So we got to ask that question, why no charges? And that question that has to be asked goes into the work that we actually do in Black Guns Matter and have for some time now. I wasn't going to do this video as well because I'm like, duh. All gun control in this country is racist, off top. I don't have to argue that point with some of you goofballs that are going to say, no, it's not racist, Hop in whatever search engine you choose to search and type in the racist roots of gun control. That's all you got to do. But I wasn't going to say it because there's a certain level of desensitized that I have in being in a psychological war for however long. You should be armed if you're Black in America. You should be armed if you're anything in America. But right now I'm talking specifically about Black people because of our unique history in this nation. Whether you're melinated through Choctaw, Iroquois, native indigenous people to this land who had your land stolen. Okay, your elders had this land stolen. It was conquest. I'm not going to deny that. Or you're talking about melanated beings brought from different parts of the Caribbean or India or Africa or, any of those places. Okay, I'm specifically talking about this scenario because of our unique situation on these lands, on Turtle Island. Okay, now, if you are a white dude and you don't like that, log the fuck off, unfollow me. Everything ain't the fuck about you. Okay? So it was kind of like, duh. Dude should have been armed jogging. Duh. You should be armed everywhere. I don't care what melanin content or not that you have. You should be armed. Weirdos exist. Some of those weirdos have badges, and some of those weirdos are retired guys with badges. Okay? So it was almost like, duh. And I was watching a Michael Jordan documentary that talked about how he supposedly didn't get involved when a guy was running for a political office, a Black man down in North Carolina, early in his career. And Michael's response, now I don't know if this is true or not, I'm going off what he said. He said that he didn't want to speak out for someone that he didn't know like that, but he would make a contribution to his campaign, and that's what he did. Then he also said that he lived by example. Right? And all of us, from Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, anybody political, athletic, scientist, doctor that if you aspire to be like them, Black chemist, whatever. Their actions speak louder than their words, and I firmly agree with that. But that's me and how I agree with that. That also can be misinterpreted, or your narrative can be hijacked and make it seem like you just don't care about Black folks. Now, because I have a decent amount of white folks that follow and support Black Guns Matters, a lot of those white women and men are patriots, right? That understand that we are different colors and quote unquote ethnicities, but we still brothers in patriotism for freedom and liberty. I get that. However, it can't ever get fucked up and make it seem like that this organization was created specifically, not limited to, but specifically to arm Black people across hoods all across America. And when something like this happens, my level of duh, I've been doing this for however many years to tell people to be armed because these type of weirdo racists exist, that kicks up. And I sometimes go, I'm not highlighting trauma porn by reposting the video, but there's new people that come onto my social media platforms that don't understand that that's been my position. People don't read captions, they don't scroll down, so they may not know. And it may look like I'm only making jokes and I'm, joking about everything's a joke with Maj and so forth and so on, but the attempt to murder Americans, melanated or not, is not a fucking joke. And what we've been saying for years now is you, Black people, at the center of the scope, in the crosshairs of the practice of gun control in America, should be armed. You go into a fucking gym, you go into jog, you go into the Piggly Wiggly, I don't care where you're going. You should have a firearm or some type of arm. You should have the means to defend yourself, and you should train to make sure that you're safe and responsible. So when two idiots that think you fit the description of somebody from however long ago, justifiable answer in their mind, right, decides to come out and follow you and you have the means to defend your life. Does it mean you'll win a gunfight? No, it does not. But it means you'll have more of a chance. Or it means you'll actually defend your life. Let me tell you a quick fact. The stand your ground laws that the mass media has tried to get more and more Black people to get away from In stand your ground law cases, black people have a favorable outcome more than anybody else in standing their ground to defend themselves. That's what that means. Stand your ground laws are an extension of the castle doctrine. I'm in my house, I can defend my house. Stand your ground is an extension of that. As you're walking outside, I'm standing my ground where I am and I'm defending myself. Mass media made this seem like as if it was something that only benefited white people, and that's inaccurate, statistically, factually wrong. Okay? So, in these spaces where you have the ability to defend yourself, you should. Now, why am I saying this in this video about Ahmaud Arbery? This is to provide clarity for beginners. This is to provide clarity for people that have a non-victim mentality and also a beginner. This is for someone that may have come across my social media more recently in the last month or so, 2 months during the Corona thing, and wants to have the means to defend themselves. This is for clarity for the mothers that have empathy. You moms, listen, moms, aunties, grandmoms, you have a condition upon you through the Willie Lynch situation that you have a mentality to tell our young black men and women to not be armed because they're killing. And they highlight a Sandra Bland video. They highlight a Ahmaud Arbery. They highlight a Eric Garner. Insert whatever name. And it's been conditioned since captivity time, genetically, to make you believe that if you have the gun, you're more of a threat. When in reality, you are more of a threat because you have more of a threat to defend yourself. If they're killing people unarmed and they're killing people armed, we have to look at the amount of times, 4 to 5 million a year, that in America, people use firearms to defend life. That's another part of the story that mainstream media is not telling you. So I implore you, moms, I understand that you see your babies, your daughters, your sons, your grandbabies, and it hurts. That's why I'm not reposting the video. I'm going to make sure that we continue at Black Guns Matter to give you solutions to these things. Just like the gays got, armed gays don't get bashed. Black people, like the Black Panthers that stood for themselves, like myself, who goes everywhere with a firearm, okay? We don't get bashed. And if we do, we have the means to defend ourselves. That does not guarantee your victory. That depends on how hard you train. But this implores me to talk about this issue. Not just, the brother that lost his life that was murdered. In this caption here, I'm also going to put the contact of who we can get in contact with to make sure that these charges are presented up against this father and son murder tandem. Okay? As well as we got to look at who didn't bring the charges and why. And we need to have that person removed from office. Okay? But this speaks more to a rallying cry. And I was not going to talk about this, but it speaks to our work. It speaks to what we do at Black Guns Matter. If you are a beginner, if you do not want to be a victim from a potential weirdo like these idiots, if you don't want to be brutalized by state foot troopers for the state, law enforcement, contact us. The email is info@official Black Guns Matter. I will link you with trainers and instructors anywhere in the country. Anywhere. It's time for us to not be outraged more so than being informed and applying solutions to make sure that we are no longer victims, because that does not have to become or maintain, or it never actually was, your narrative. Mainstream media will try to trick you. The most effective devil in America will try to trick you by running that over and over and over again to convince you that you can only be the victim, and you are not. I want everybody to make sure you read the caption, make sure you follow those action item lists in this caption. I want you to be armed, and I want you to contact me if you need training anywhere in these United States of America. Be safe, be solution.